Hello, everyone. I want to talk to you today about my time on the ventilator. I was on a ventilator for 35 days. I was in a coma. I had a stoma. They rhyme, coma with a stoma. Uh, this is true, and I think I predicted maybe not COVID, but while I was in the coma on the ventilator, I kept having this one dream for 35 days that the whole world was slowly getting put on ventilators. And then I was, at the time I thought I was I was the only one who was looked over because um, of several reasons. But first, I'll tell you why I was in first, I'll tell you what it's like to be on a ventilator, and then I'll tell you about my crazy, possibly dreams that predicted the future or just crazy dreams. I don't know. But I do know about being on a ventilator. I had a blood clot, like aortic dissection. It was where the stomach, the heart meets the stomach, and it ripped, which was not good. I mean, usually blood clots, you're in the hospital for like 2 or 3 days, but mine had serious complications. They had induced a coma. And then later on, my lungs got too weak. They had to breathe for me, which was the hardest part. So the hardest part about being on a ventilator, you have to be calm. You have to be very calm. I hope you're good at being calm. It's an important thing to be. Other people I know, they were on ventilators and they did not do well. I know right now the life expectancy, if you're put on a ventilator for this COVID-19, is very low. Because what happens is your lungs are damaged, or your body's not strong enough to do what the lungs do, the muscles around the lungs. I'm not a doctor or anything. I'm just a person who was on a ventilator. So it's like they say, I know you know better, but I know him, right? I mean, a doctor has administered it, but they ain't never been on it. You know what I'm saying? And when they don't get the sleepy time drugs, exactly right, and all those drugs end in Saul, I guess. Barbara Saul or something. I don't know what it is. So one time I woke up and I didn't know what was going on. So there was something in my throat, and I took a deep breath in and nothing happened. And that was like, it was like a kind of fear that changes your reality. That's how strong it was. I breathed in, strong breath as I was taught. I mean, I take yoga, which I think probably saved me as I was, I practiced breathing. I did this before, but I did it and nothing happened. So it was almost like when you're underwater, you breathe, there's no oxygen in it. So, I was on these serious meds. I ripped out the stuff, which was bad. And my family could hold my hand, and I don't remember the people being there, but they did get into my dreams. One thing definitely you have to do, even if you're alone, even if it's just you, or if it's your friend on a ventilator, put soft sounds near them. Ocean sounds from YouTube. I love YouTube. I love YouTube now because, I mean, they saved me. I think hearing those sounds, hearing the sounds of your family, the sounds of your loved ones, but also bird sounds, nature sounds. And I know it's hard now because they can't visit people, but it was so nice when they brought in puppies that like licked my hand, licked my face. I can't tell you. When I was first like becoming aware, or I don't know when it was, but it was so pleasant. It really, really was a special moment among not so special moments in other ways. Definitely play background music. It was so important, so important. And those bird sounds, it was important. Deep breaths, because that's what being on a ventilator is. I mean, I guess now they say your lungs get all ripped up and stuff, which is terrible. But for any reason you're on a ventilator, that machine it becomes part of you. And in my dream that I had, I was part of the machine. And I had like 3 layers of dreams. Uh, the bottom layer was life or death. I mean, I'm not affiliated with any religion or anything, but you do bad, you go to a bad place. I think I seen it with my own eyes. You do good, or you think about what you've done. I don't know if it's psychosomatic or if it's real, but anyway, the nice part about my dream was, what can I do? I was always thinking, what can I do to improve this situation? So I was thinking about what I could do to improve the situation. In my dream, I had to rationalize it. What caused this thing? So it was like aliens, or I didn't know what it was, an alien force. And they didn't pick me because I'd already been on a ventilator. My body wasn't worth getting picked, right? So in my crazy dream, how do we combat it? So in my dream, I went to the future. A very complicated way to get to the future. And every step uh, was like in real time. So I had to drive to Baltimore, like we do it where I grew up. And we went to uh, Bubby and Zadie's house in the past. So to go to the future, I had to go to the past and like fling forward. It makes sense. It made total sense to me at the time. So I was flung forward. Yeah. Flung, flung, flung. And it was very strange and different. And at the time, you know, I got there to the future. Everything was so different. It was, but now I realize it was so clean. But the first thing they did was they tied me down and they kept me away from the leader. You know, I kept thinking, oh, it's because, they thought I was dangerous. I said I was from the past, trying to find out how they just got over, the crisis. Uh, and the crisis was like this mad doctor in my brain. It turned out to be, I'm sure it was the actual surgeon with the weird mask that they wear. But in my brain, I thought she was like an alien doctor doing stuff to people. Uh, I rationalized, the best I could. But now that we're in the COVID, I realize, yeah, they made me keep my distance. But I just couldn't in the dream. I would get close to people and they kept walking away. And it was so weird. And this was, 2000, end of 2015, which is another issue because I went to the coma and I came out and then Donald Trump was president. I was like, president of what? What, the TV show or something? No, he's president. So I'm not really sure if this reality is a reality, or am I still in the coma? I still get that, sometimes. Breathing, I was in the coma. I was on the ventilator 35 days. I had like 5 operations. So usually you're on a ventilator and you have operations, and usually it's all right. You have your big operation, you make it, or you don't make it, whatever the odds are. For me, It was, "Alright, he made it. Oh, he's bleeding again. We have to operate a second time. Oh, it ripped, third time." And one time I was due for operation and they didn't communicate with the person who's supposed to take me there or something, and so I missed an operation. Uh, I mean, but these people, they saved my life, so I don't wanna complain about them. But, nobody's perfect, and especially now, I can just imagine what's going on now. Because at that time, there was very few people in the ICU, and there was still mistakes even then. Now there must be, and now, these heroes risk their lives every day, doctors and nurses. I have to say, when I did wake up after the 5th operation, um, the doctors would stand behind the nurses, but, maybe because they also had to tie me down. I can understand that, but waking up tied down is a whole 'nother thing, and, my arm was damaged for, like, 2 years, so I had to learn how to breathe again. I had to learn, I was shocked. So, like, 28 days later, nah, that ain't that ain't true. That's a lie. You're in a coma. I don't care. The zombies coming for you. You ain't standing up. I told myself, all right, if someone gave you $1,000,000 to stand up right now and walk across the room, what would you do? And I tried. I fell. They had these bracelets on, falling risk. I was like, come on, man, I'm strong. Nah, so quick. Your muscles just atrophy so fast. And it's the same thing with your lung muscles. So when you're on the ventilator, even if you do survive, you have to learn how to breathe again. It's hard. It's a hard road. Take those deep breaths. Or breathe out. Do good. Do good. But that's doing my dream. It took me a long time to figure it out. So the whole social distancing thing just came. That's the way. It's according to my dreams. Other things happen in my dreams. Another place I went to was uh, it was very muddy. It had to do with cows falling down. Of course, one cow fell on my chest, and I couldn't move because that's where operation was. All the stuff was happening there. But it was interesting. The cow like laid down on my chest and died, and I couldn't get out from under it. But there were all these comedians dressed like doctors. But I think it was just the doctors. They always at that time, because it was before the pandemic, they had time to laugh, and that really helped. And some of the nurses, Lucas, this one nurse, gentleman nurse, was just awesome. My family goes on and on about him, all the cool stuff he did. And then I met some really nice Filipino ladies, and I do have to say that once I got off that ventilator, it was hard. The worst part about it, the stoma, was the dryness. Like the pain in my stomach wasn't as bad as this new kind of pain from the hole in my neck. It was so dry, and I just wanted water, and they couldn't give me water because the way it is. You have to eat this like thick fluid for a month. That's nasty. But the dryness was so painful. I mean, I've had broken bones. I had kidney stones, and this was worse. Kidney stones, you could like jostle your body, and it would be a little less painful, or you could drink lots of water, and pain would subside a little bit, or it would move a little. There was no moving it. There was no way around the dryness. Sure, my lungs hurt a little bit, but of these muscles in my arm, because they tied it in the wrong spot, and my eye. Like maybe for a normal person, but my spine is bent. I have AS, spondylitis, ankylosing spondylitis. AS. Anyway, my spine is fused a little bit. They didn't know that. they put me down like an irregular. They can't do that. I ain't regular. You know what I'm saying? I'm extraordinary. But then I woke up and my wife on one hand and my mom on the other hand. It was awesome. It was the only time I saw my mom cry my whole life. She's like one of them super tough old ladies. She does aerobics like every day, dances every day. She's great. She's awesome. Great role model. She was there the whole time. She's been abandoned by lots of men. Men, what you gonna do? But now people can't wake up like that. I feel sorry for them. But waking up is hard to do. Waking up is hard to do. It was strange waking up, and then so I woke up slowly. These people, these nurses and doctors, they did lots of work on me. But like whatever they gave me to wake me up, like I was awake for 24 hours. The first time I could not sleep again. And unfortunately, I'm legally blind. I have RP, retinitis pigmentosa, so I can only see a little bit. But I listen to lovely YouTube, man, books on tape. Even YouTube has lots of audio books. It helped me bring me back to this place. But it wasn't just one wake up. Like this was when I really, really woke up. There were a couple times I definitely remember them trying to wake me up. Like, hey, how you doing? Yeah, I'm here. And I wasn't there. Like the false starts. There were lots of them. Probably more than I know. I remember like 3. I tried hard, but I could stay me, stay me. And I have lots of experience with different kind of medication, legal and illegal, which I think helped me just stay calm in the situation. And luckily I never did too much of anything, but I've been doing lots of stuff for my conditions as well as self-medicating, but never took too far. No cigarettes. They say, yeah, smoke in the lungs, not a good combination. But waking up is hard to do. Yeah. When I woke up, it was hard. I still had the feeding tube in me, which really sucks, man. The feeding tube is no fun, dude. Yeah, pass on the feeding tube. If you can't. You got to eat. But being fed by a tube, and then there's another tube. Yeah, because what comes in has got to go out, man. And yeah, that tube was in my man part. That was not pleasant, and taking it out, not pleasant. Oh yeah, catheters, I guess, is a word. You'll have to learn it. And then the food, man, what the stuff they called food at the hospital. I mean, I was like, put me back on the tube, dude. The tube was the only thing worse than the tube was this stuff. And like, it sounded good. They were like, yeah, let's have steak and mashed potatoes. Oh yeah, steak and mashed potatoes. But you could not tell the difference what was steak and what was mashed potatoes, and these were not mashed potatoes. I love mashed potatoes. The food, what was some alien thing? I was like, uh-oh, am I in the alien place? It was, it was funny. It was almost funny. It, yeah, I mean they have to make it so it's so easy to be digest. I guess it's it's not meat and not potatoes. So I don't know what it was. It was a slime. It was like white slime and brown slime. That's what it was. That's what it was. Put me back on the tube, man. But man, okay. And so I became conscious, but I still had the tubes inside me for like a day or whatever. So that's the time you gotta find your inner zen, your one hand clapping. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it, buddy. I tell you what, you can do it. You can definitely do it. I did it. I did it, man. I'm not, I mean, I was in bad shape. I did it. I lost 50 pounds. It's a good way to go on a diet. Yeah, it was a good diet. No, man. But I was overweight. Um, but I'm keeping enough now. Afterwards, that's good. I do my push-ups every day, which I love, until I got plaque psoriasis on my hands and feet, which is, man, plaque psoriasis is so bad. All right. All right. But yeah. I first woke up, yeah, and they sent in like priests and stuff, and they were like, "Wow, you're alive." That was interesting. Uh, yeah, that was nice of them. But the dogs they sent in like, um, and I didn't. There were a couple of kinds. There was like the kinds that just read from the Bible. I was like, "No, no, that's not doing nothing for me, dude." And then there was like the hippie guy I liked. Um, yeah, the hippie guy. He- I liked it. I like that style better. Just let me hear your story and share your story. All about sharing. Uh, however, I would say the puppies and the music. People played music for us. I don't know if they do that now. However, they had someone playing the harp. I guess people were passing away, so it was apropos, is that what they say? But uh, I think like guitar or something, stay around music rather than send off music or whatever they played on the Titanic. So, so singing, uh, uh, Titanic. Those those were the coolest people on that boat, obviously. Band. So if I do time travel, next time I want to go back and save the musicians. Even if I have to, trade them for some rich people or Jack and Diane. What's her name? Jack and Rose. I'm just kidding. I know. Rose. And actually, I watch that movie every year on Valentine's Day. But I only watched the first half of the movie. That's it. And that's a whole movie. And it's long enough. That's it. I watch until they make love. And then it's an awesome movie with a great message. So for me, it really worked out. Um, and they took care of us. The uh, people in the hospital worked really hard. Sure, they made mistakes. They're human, but they kept me alive. And even afterwards, after my insurance ran out, they made some home visits, which was pretty awesome. They didn't have to do that. They knew I had no insurance and I was poor. And the lady, the nurse commander, the head nurse. Should be a better word than head nurse. They should be called captain, something like that. And she I saw her just to check it off, even though uh, I didn't have the money. She found a way to hook me up, which was awesome. So I appreciate those people. Um, I mean, they're heroes. They were heroes to me then. Now they're heroes to everybody. So I think that's very well deserved. They deserve it. So if your loved one is on a ventilator, uh, know that they're still uh, dreaming, definitely dreaming, and even the sound of your voice helps. Definitely, the nature sounds. That's the best for me was the nature sounds, waves, sound of waves, and sound of kids, laughter. The best things. Sounds of the best things helped a lot. Don't be in a hurry. Practice your breath now. If you're sick and worried about going on a ventilator, in through the nose, opening your chest while you do it. Hold like your back. Get your arms back, hold them back, and then out to the mouth. Get it out there. Get it out there. Raise up your spine. Arms go back. It sort of opens everything a little bit deeper you can. There's lots of beeps with different machines. For me, I had to keep getting blood. That was a thing. I'm not sure if people get blood with this new situation, but um, having other people's blood and I used to give blood regularly, but not enough. But my awesome mom, she she's on like that list who gave like a super amount of blood, super donor, I think they're called. And I mean, she's just amazing. So the karma she built up really helped. And yeah, I used to go to orphanages for many years as a clown. Would go to hospitals as Santa. I did them all too. But I would go to embassies and then I would go to orphanages who had nothing. In school, I went to schools, they didn't have floors. That's how poor they were. No desks, no chairs. Literally, the floor was dirt. There was no floor. But but they were the same. The kids were the same. They loved the same jokes and games, and they used to give me five, and my hat would fall off. And I enjoyed that a lot. I hope I can get back to doing more charity shows, if it's virtual or however it is. And yeah, I'm mostly blind, but what little I appreciate what I do see, and I appreciate the air I do breathe. You gotta appreciate it. I try to exercise every day, of course, but take a break sometime and think about when you're in the hospital, and if you ever want to compare scars, I have like it's like all the way down. It's all and they cut my belly button in half. Anyway. But they had to. I understand they had to open my chest and then close it up. And my wife was horrified. And get this, because they had so many operations, they had to leave my stomach out in the future, saving the world. And I had to go through like space and time, and I had to do it in the back of a hatchback that we used to have. I think it's like a company that doesn't even exist anymore. It was one of those cars, but it was like a hatchback. Oh man! And like I said, it was real time. So like I mean, it sounded like space sounds to me, but I'm sure it was the ICU has special air stuff that they do. I've never been in an ICU when I've been, uh, except for when I was in the ICU. I've never visited anybody. I've never met nobody in a coma. Hi, meet yourself, except myself. But it was yeah. I'm gonna travel to Baltimore, and it was like I did the whole drive because I had so many days and days of it. But when I woke, I thought it was in a couple days, and then I missed my sister's birthday, first time ever, but I had a good excuse. It's a good excuse. "Why weren't you at my birthday?" "I was in a coma." "Okay, yeah." No, but she would never say that. Anyway, but I would never miss her birthday. She's awesome. I have a few awesome sisters, and but even my brother came. That was good, and people showed up from far away. That was awesome. That meant something. Now they can't do that. That's rough. That's rough, man. That's gotta be rough. And like I said, people came. I knew, but they were in my dreams. But I don't remember them there. But they did come. And when they finally took the tubes out, that's a process. But I just role played. I love role playing games. I role played. All right, I am Darth Vader. And sure enough, the first thing I said was, "I am your father." They probably get that a lot. But I mean, the process of taking the tubes out, man. Whoa, dude. Uh, just pretend you're Darth Vader and you're getting an upgrade. I am Darth Vader getting the upgrade. We know a Venervator, right? Be a Venervator. Be a Venervator. And Darth Vader, he's one of the toughest guys in the universe, even though he's on a ventilator, right? So I just channeled that. I said, I am Darth Vader. When he turns good. Or I like the Darth Vader, there's some cool, um, these cartoons are cool, of course, but then they have these Lego cartoons, and it's like him and his family. It's fun, him and Luke and stuff. I like those. You know, it's not canon or whatever, but it's lots of fun. And just remembering the good things. All right, so I told you the 3 levels. Yeah, there was that super fantasy level. Uh, then I would get the deal level, like, people would come to me and say, "You have to calm down." Yeah. So I guess I was having trouble because, yeah, a couple times I coded or whatever, and a couple times I was yelling at demons, of course, 'cause that's the bottom level. But this middle level, they said, "All right, we're gonna find a body for you to live in temporarily or something." So in my brain, this happened. So, um, I guess they were telling me to calm down in real life is what I guess. But in my dreams, they said they had to find a body for me. And at first, I went around to people who just died, like boom, just died, like at a restaurant, uh, car accident. I was like in their body for a little while, but it wasn't a good match or something, and I got shot out until they came back and said, "All right, you gotta calm down. Uh, we'll make a deal with you, uh, but at just a different time. But you cannot talk about the future." Of course, I agreed, and it was the first time in the dream that I could go into a body that was sitting up. It was a person in a wheelchair. That was a very strange dream because it started with a bag and a smell. All right. And I could not place the smell, something burning. But now I know what it is. But at the time, I didn't know what it was. Uh, so in the dream, it's very strange, but I was in Greece in like the 60s. But I was in a Jewish family, and then we were having a feud with the Muslim family across the way. And they had tried to, they said they were going to attack the synagogue. Um, and me and it was me and my brothers decided to go stand in front of the synagogue, or actually sit there with inside a white van, like a bread truck, you would call it, so they wouldn't blow up the synagogue with us in front of it. Uh, it's very like, every detail I could see it, um, I've never been to Greece or nothing, but this was like this some town center. I didn't know Greece has any Jewish people, and, my some half my family's Jewish, but I'm not Jewish myself, I was put into this Jewish person, but I'm friends of Jewish like, I hope they put that if they do tombstones, I would've gone with friends of the Jews 'cause, I grew up in a, Jewish neighborhood in Baltimore anyway. So in the dream, that was the deal, uh, and they had blown up the place, shot a it was like a RPG, I think. So, I was in the body of the brother who had died, and there were, like, 4 or 5 brothers in my brain, I guess it was my brain that did it. So, um, he had died, I passed him on the way, but I got his body, and, um, like, they were amazed. Their restaurant they had a restaurant. I remember the white and black tile so much. I wonder if the operating room had that tile. Alright, but that smell, like, in the uh, it was definitely flesh getting burned, uh, I know now it was my flesh. They sort of sealed me up, uh, I guess then it happens because they had opened me up and closed me so many times, they had to do some special process is what I'm guessing. And they used this glue, hot glue. So that was the smell, must have been. But for me, it was the inside the van and the the blood and he was fused to the van. So at first they had to scrape me up, unfuse me from the van, which I remember clearly. It was unpleasant. Then they took me back and um, there was an argument because it was just the stuff is going to go on. So the my Greek father, well, first we sang and they were so shocked that my English had improved. They're like, "It's a miracle, you're English." They had tried to use the English, and, my English was perfect now. That was funny. Uh, and we owned, like, a restaurant, but I think it was Italian restaurant in Greece. I don't know any Greek food, I guess. Opa, that's all I know. But the mom, she was very old. It was definitely not my mom. She was old and she was bigger and very religious. And like, the Muslim extremists were going to uh, attack another synagogue. But, the mom said, "You did great standing in front of the place." But the father said, "No, if they want to blow it up, then they have to deal with it. That's their karma or uh, the Jewish equivalent to karma, which I think there's a whole day about forgiveness and stuff. So he was saying if they want to do it, they have to deal with God, and it's not our business. Uh, but the mom was saying, we have to do it with soldiers of Judaism, something like that. Anyway, some religious stuff I really understand. But I wanted to make them both happy. I remember that. I wanted to fit into their family. Because for me, as far as I knew, that would be it. That would be it, so, and I was in a wheelchair, um, and I, like, lived a couple days like that, like, real days at the restaurant, discussing what we were gonna do, trying to talk to, the reasonable Muslims, because there's reasonable Muslims too. Even in my dreams, some are reasonable, some are not, and some are just so hate-filled. But we have that in our own there's Nazis and stuff too, so anyway, um, but it was a big thing when I was thinking about it, who else I was there, because eventually they pulled me out because I let it slip. "Oh, you guys should, invest in Yahoo or something, but it was the '60s, so I don't know, it was some investment advice I gave someone, and then they came and said I broke the rule somehow. But, um, one of the days a couple of days, they would push my wheelchair up to the, uh right in the shade, but in the center of the place, there was like the city center, and they would push all the people with wheelchairs in one spot, which I think they do for real, like, just feels real. So, I don't know if I was really there or dream vision, I'm not exactly sure what it was. But, um, I was talking to somebody, and they turned out to be a spy from the time people, and they dragged me back to this world. Then there was, uh, at the bottom, I told you about the 3 levels. For me, it was I was just a dead body on a slab, but it was in the parking garage to hell, that's the truth. So, I could see the door to hell, and there was, like, flames and screams and all that bad stuff, and I saw some, people behaving badly in the garage, some bad images. If you watch too much porn, your brain will make porn images. If you watch a lot of puppies and stuff, your brain will make that image maybe, or else I was really there. I don't know. But it turned out, unfortunately, uh, someone was trying to pass me off as their son, so their son wouldn't go to hell. So, and this time it was like just the very kind, I'm sure, worker. She spoke Spanish at one of the custodians. Uh, maybe it was just I heard the lady cleaning the bathroom and talking to her son in Spanish, and I understood a couple words and misinterpreted it in my dreams. Or maybe I was there and she was trying to sneak me in instead of her son, and I don't I would do the same thing. I would try to save my son from hell. So I didn't blame that lady. But and she, it wasn't the actual gate, right? I guess it was a side door. And maybe it was the door to the bathroom in the ICU. But I don't think we had that. I don't know. Anyway, uh, whatever it was, in my vision that happened and they stopped. They just found her out right before she snuck me in through the back. But I saw him take her son for what he'd done. And they told me, not yet. He might be back here, or he might go somewhere else. I personally think you make your own heaven or hell, or you got to pay your own price. I'm not into any structured religion. I think if there's a God like they say, then that God can make all the religions true. I don't see why not. So I say Poseidon. He's if I gotta pick a famous god, it would be Poseidon. Poseidon. And I don't want gods to be lonely. Lonely people are twisted, so you got to make more than one. That just seems common sense to me. But I think I was in the garage to hell, and I got a second chance. It wasn't that I didn't belong there. It wasn't my time. It was somebody else's time. But I think his crime sounded more severe. That's what I will say. They were hinting at he did bad stuff to other people, which knock on wood, I had not done yet. Um, but the whole time I was on the ventilator, the machine, and there were like 6 other kind of machines keeping me alive, not just the ventilator. Now, I'm sure they use some of those, maybe not all of those. But again, let me just sum up. I hope you enjoyed my crazy story. And, um, I guess social distancing is what they told me in the future, and watch out for muddy cows. Uh, not quite sure what that means yet. If I figure something else out, I'll tell you guys. But I went to the future. They said you gotta stay 6 feet away from people. And you gotta survive. You gotta live. So practice those breathing exercises. I'm the blind DM, Christopher. Thanks for listening.